Okay, now to our panel. I'm Tasawar, Jalali, the Chief Information Security Officer at Trans and chair at AI Committee for American Public Transport Association. I've been in the cyber and AI for a while. I'm honored to moderate tonight's session, discussion on artificial intelligence role in public service. AI is no longer a futuristic concept. It's here and it's reshaping the way we serve the public. Now, over 60% of the US cities are actively exploring or using AI to improve public services like transportation, emergency response, and citizen engagement. Global investments in AI for government use and growth use is growing at about 30% annually, with applications ranging from infrastructure management to public safety. And across US, and especially within Indian diaspora, we are seeing innovators, policymakers, entrepreneurs working to ensure AI used ethically, inclusively, and effectively. We'll keep this session interactive, and we'll look forward to your questions, but we kindly ask that you hold on to your questions till the end, and we'll open the floor for the Q&A towards the end. Now first, let me introduce our panelists. To my left, Dr. Liang Chao, the Mayor of the City of Cupertino, right here. Our first panelist is a bold leader at the intersection of technology and public services. Dr. Liang Chao, Mayor of Cupertino, leads one of Silicon Valley's most dynamic and diverse cities, home to global tech innovators and a highly educated community. She holds a PhD in computer science from Princeton, and she has background in developing software that accelerates hardware design. With a deep commitment to transparency, sustainability, and civic innovation, Mayor Chao brings both technical expertise and visionary leadership to the conversation on AI in local government. Please welcome Mayor Liang Chao. Next, we're joined by Lily May, Mayor Emeritus Fremont, and a trailblazer in civic leadership. As Fremont's first woman and Asian American mayor, she guided the city during years of remarkable growth and community transformation. With one of the largest Indian American populations in California, Fremont's success under her leadership is a testament to inclusion, smart planning, and forward-thinking public policy. Please welcome Lily May. Next sitting to Dr. Chao is Karthik Krishnan, a friend, a CEO of Concentric, joining us from AI and cybersecurity space. Karthik is the CEO of Concentric.ai, a company leveraging artificial intelligence to secure sensitive data, defend against insider threats, and with a proven track record of industry leadership like Juniper, Symantec, HP, Karthik offers a deep insight into how government can harness AI not only to boost efficiency, but also enhance trust, privacy, and resilience. Concentric, a leader in data security posture management, recently raised about $45 million in Series B funding, bringing its total funding to over close to $70 million. Welcome, Karthik. And also sitting right, far right to me is Huseni, CEO of Daxa.ai, a cutting-edge platform focused on automation, operation, and both private and public sectors. His mission to democratize AI, making it accessible and scalable, even for cities and agencies with limited technical resources. Please welcome Huseni Saboowala. And last but not least, our final panelist, Dr. Yervant, Zorian, who's sitting right to the far left, is the Chief Architect and Fellow at Synopsys, one of the world's leading technology companies powering the chips that make artificial intelligence possible. As a global innovator in AI-driven design and digital systems, Dr. Zorian has helped shape the very building blocks that fuel today's smart technology. He also serves as president of Armenian Virtual College, where he champions global tech education. Dr. Zorian brings a unique lens on where this technology is headed and will shape our future. That's our panelists for tonight. All right. So, like I said, we're going to make this session interactive. I'm going to ask a few questions to our panelists, and I'll start with Dr. Chang. Dr. Chang, thanks for being here tonight. I'd like to see how is Cupertino at the heart of Silicon Valley, how is your city balancing innovation with ethics as you explore AI-driven solutions in services like traffic, safety, and planning?
First I'd like to First, I'd like to thank Juven Soski for inviting me to this unity dinner. What a visionary that brings all of us together so we are united to face the challenges that's facing us since the start of COVID. So I was originally from Taiwan, and I'm now serving the 7th year in Cupertino City Council. And this year I am selected the mayor. It's a 1-year term in Cupertino. But at the same time, I also work full-time in a startup, Daxa.ai. We design software for design software for printed circuit design. I used to work for Cadence. Synopsys is our competitor. And we think that there are a lot more manual work that's being done in printed circuit design, so we are trying to automate that and trying to use code to design printed circuit board routing and placement. But at the same time, I'm using AI tools almost daily. They help me write emails and even survey policies and write policies for the Cupertino city government. And at work, I use it daily for coding, it's just an amazing tool and in the community, we also use it to design flyers. It's great to brainstorm even names for the community events we would like to organize. But it's true, for the city, we definitely need to involve AI for cybersecurity issues, because a lot of the AI tools, the hackers are getting smarter. But then we are also looking at the AIs are helping our staff to do research on policy and prepare staff report. But then every step of the way, the staff is trained to know that they can use AI to help draft a document, but then they have to double check everything. Because as we know, AI tool is not 100% correct all the time. At the same time, we also have a list of things we can do and a list of things we cannot do. For example, we don't use AI for biometric data. We don't use AI to make final decisions. We don't use AI to extract anyone's emotion. So there are boundaries on what we can do. But AI definitely is a tool that we are looking at how do we introduce ChatGPT so that people can query about, for example, how do you apply for a permit in the city? What kind of Unicode is there for parking restriction, for example? So these are things that city are all exploring.
Thank you so much. I think you brought a really good points. She's talking, the mayor is talking about the hallucination and being able to check, because hallucination is a big problem. And I'm glad that you guys are really drawing some boundaries and having some ethics and policies in place for AI. Thank you, Dr. Chang, really good answer. Appreciate. And next, I'll go to Lily May, right next to me. During your time as a mayor, what role did you see AI starting to play in public safety, infrastructure, or community programs?
Sure. So, as the former mayor, I had the privilege of serving our city for the past 16 years. And so I've had the opportunity to see it from the education perspective as a school board trustee, city council member, and also having led the city in the past couple of years as a mayor. And it's been a real privilege for us to be able to share in various prestigious platforms some of the work we've done, whether it's at City Summit of Americas, COP28, or an inaugural mayoral summit on Southeast Asian Clean Energy Forum, as well as just last week, I was in Taiwan speaking to a Youth Climate Action Summit. I think Fremont is well recognized as one of the greenest cities in the United States, but we also lead in clean tech manufacturing, setting a benchmark for others to follow. But during my tenure of these past few years, we've been able to have a real transformative role in how AI is used in several key areas that you mentioned. Whether it's public safety, I know that when I first came in as a mayor, several of the cities in the United States got hacked. And so I was able to have a panel discussion with Christopher Krebs and Homeland Security where we talked about with fellow mayors, whether it's Atlanta, Baltimore, and other cities, what can we do to be able to prepare infrastructure, and also how can we help other neighboring cities? So I won't mention the city, but one of our fellow cities also got hacked. Neighboring cities got hacked for their police dispatch system. So we stepped up and helped work with them through that process. So it can be utilized for emergency response systems to have an analysis of data in real time, so we can better predict and respond to incidents more effectively. I'm also proud of that we were one of the first 5 cities to be droned as first responders, which means that we use the UAV drone to get better targeting. For example, not targeting at people, but if they're responding to fire, which I just saw one when I was driving down here. So you can see if you go to a house and a drone can get there faster, as traffic can be a factor here in the Bay Area, we can see the house and see if there's a propane tank on the back, or there's other ways that we can address in a case of emergency. For infrastructure, we've leveraged AI to monitor and maintain our infrastructure, smart sensors for traffic monitoring and road conditions, whether it's the pavement index. And as a former Girl Scout and Boy Scout Explorer, I'm proud of our emergency preparedness. So that means when you've seen some of the crazy incidents that have happened with earthquakes and fires, we have 3 of our 11 fire stations have microgrids, which means we've saved on our utilities and power, but more importantly, we've stored some of this energy and batteries, so that if we need to, we can operate in the case of the worst case scenarios for 12 to 15 hours, independent of PG&E. So we have islands and we have microgrids that allow us to be capacity to respond to people. And finally, in community programs, when it comes to discussions like today, we have almost 50% of our community are immigrants and backgrounds. So when we deliver things like even my state of city, we try to do our state of city or redistricting to engage the community. So having multiple language access, having things like we have the one school for the deaf and the school for the blind in Fremont, and making sure that we are handy capable, and things like public health and sustainability. So in summary, AI is not just a tool, it's a partner or a mission for us, and creating a safer, cleaner, and more efficient Fremont. And our focus is integrating these models and technology to reinforce our commitment to being a solid foundation. And particularly right now for climate action, we've worked on that with our updates and reaching out to our community members to get their feedback and participation, and these adoptions right now, for example, in our budget analysis. So we look forward to the continued partnership, and I'm really proud to see the leadership, and I know I have several of my school board members as well as city council members here today, because it really is a partnership, and none of us can solve these issues independently. It takes a whole community to deliver the solutions we need.
Thank you. That was a good answer. Really very elaborate. I mean, AI is here. It's real. And there are real ethical challenges, like what Dr. Chad mentioned, Mr. Lee May mentioned. I mean, these are, I don't know whether it's, any of you have seen, there's a Netflix show. It's very realistic, where this couple, and they're like, struggling, and his wife gets diagnosed with a deadly brain tumor. And there's an institution that have developed AI-powered synthetic brain they can replace, and she gets that. Anyways, I think they said, like, all right, so it's free. All you have to do is pay the subscription. It's $300 a month, and you'll be perfectly normal. And they, after a lot of consultation, they go for that AI, powered synthetic brain. And while she's not working, she goes back to her normal life. The surgery is successful. And one day she's sitting in her classroom, she's a teacher, and while she's talking about honey, she suddenly talks about honey cereal, honey bun cereal, all of those products. And then the teacher and the principal, they complain what's going on. And when she goes back to the doctor and to the institution, they said, well, you have paid the basic subscription, So there's ads in there. So they're gonna speak ads. So, and this is realistic. It's like, all right, if you want better, you don't want any ads, you're gonna subscribe to Plus, which is $1,000 a month. And they're forced to do that subscription, pay $1,000 a month. And after some time, when they're traveling out of this town, and suddenly she falls asleep. And they panic and they rush back to the hospital. And they realize that the hospital's like, oh, you know what? You need to upgrade to premium because you're only certain coverage. You go out of this coverage, you're not being covered, you're gonna go to sleep. So AI is real and it's here, and there are some ethical questions we should address. And I'm glad we have a great panel here. And with that, I'll go to the next question to my friend, Karthik. Karthik, I think you've done a phenomenal job in AI. I know you raised money and you've got a great thing going on. You help organizations secure data using AI. What are the top data privacy or security risks cities face as they adopt AI, and how can they address them?
Yeah, so if you look at AI itself is not new. I mean, various versions of machine learning and AI have been around for more than 2 decades, if not 3 decades. I think what generative AI as a technology, the reason it's a fundamental step up, not sort of an evolution, is the ability to handle data, like just vast volumes of data and make sense of it. To continue to learn off of data without any plateauing. In prior generations of models, they would start plateauing once after a certain point. And so the ability to learn from just vast amounts of data almost to an infinite capacity, and the ability to sort of make sense of data distributions, generate new data. Like, for example, the idea that you could throw a bunch of Taylor Swift songs at a model and then it's generating new songs based off of what she has done before, that's completely new. That's never been possible before. Now, what that means from a deployment standpoint is, like, as cities are looking to take advantage, there's a tremendous benefit from the fact that cities are sitting on vast volumes of data, like just health services, law enforcement, all sorts of public services. And so these models have the ability to transform service delivery, make sense of data, provide service delivery in an efficient manner, at scale probably not prior possible. But what that also means is you are looking practically at huge data lakes of just extremely sensitive data, whether it's private personal PII information, could be health information, could be records, criminal records, civil records. That's just, that's like, as far as an attacker is concerned, they don't have to worry about anything else. All they have to worry about is just being able to get into one of these systems. And now you have access to just vast volumes of data that cities have to make sure they're putting the guardrails around the data just to make sure that that data doesn't leak out, because that just becomes a perfect honeypot for any sort of an attacker to come in and take. Now, there's also the privacy issue associated with the fact that you now have extremely sensitive information associated with people, your citizens, and what does it mean? How do you cover from a regulation standpoint and make sure that all of that data is protected? Not to mention, in fact, today if you deploy, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini or anything else, the kinds of information it can make available to your own employees is just, it's mind-boggling. Right? You could ask it a question like, hey, tell me what's happening in this particular area. And it's going to go aggregate information across your entire environment, make sense of it, and present it at the click of a mouse. Which also means you have to put guardrails around that data just to make sure that you don't have sensitive contextual information going out to everybody, right? There's got to be information that, if you're the mayor of Cupertino, you probably need to have a certain level of access, and that's different from any other employee working within the Cupertino city or sort of the broader employee base. And so I would put these in sort of 3 sets of buckets: one around who needs access to what information, making sure that you've got the right sets of controls in place. The other is just the honeypot that you have set up for attackers to go after just large data lakes that have extremely sensitive information, which you are using for good from a delivery standpoint, but that's also now an attack vector and a threat vector. And the third thing is the privacy of the citizens themselves, just making sure that you're adequately addressing the privacy concerns so that people's individual information doesn't end up getting exposed.
Thank you, Karthik. Really good points about privacy. There are challenges, and we're going to have to address them now before we start really jumping on and subscribing to the solutions. With that, just keeping track of the time here, I'm going to go to our next panelist, Huseni Saboowala. He is in right next. Huseni, what are some everyday examples of how AI is currently helping make public services like handling paperwork, like what Dr. Chao was talking about, managing city operations, Ms. May was talking about improving transportation or responding to emergencies faster and more efficiently?
Yeah, that's right on actually. So I think to answer that, I think probably should take a step back, right? In the context of what's happening today, right, with public services getting stretched, right? We know this limited budgets, limited staff, and at the same time we have rising expectations for public services, right? So with that as a backdrop, right, generative AI, as Karthik mentioned, is kind of stepping in to come in and essentially help provide not really the hype part of it, but really as help, right? And that's really key because for city employees, help can mean, like Mayor Chao said, right? And simple things like even summarizing dense policy documents, or it could even mean like you are trying to expedite processing of certain permits that you're asking for, things that we all can appreciate as citizens out here. So simple things like that. And then even on some of the use cases that we have seen with first responders, summarizing 911 call transcripts quickly saves time, right? And where every second matters, that can really a big difference, right? And I think other cases we've seen like the transportation, like so AC transit, for instance, with TAS yourself. I know you guys are pioneering services, AC. You guys have AI-powered bus cameras, some of that, right? So obviously that, and also a lot of potential for other areas, empowering and frontline employees with information quickly, or just bringing more efficiencies into your vehicle maintenance, for instance, right, and things of that nature. But I think so a lot of use cases coming up for public services across. But I think one of the key things I think as Karthik touched upon too, right, with great opportunity comes great responsibility, right? And then AI obviously is of course the security risk of data exposure being with vast quantities of data like Karthik touched upon, right? Lots of data available, and so that's really a big honeypot. But I think besides that also I think key questions, right, is because the services are for all of us, right? Privileged, non-privileged groups. And so making sure that the bias that we have in a lot of the data that we use for training this, right, does not creep in and become part of the daily life or the decisions that we are making using these tools, right? That becomes a key, one of the key challenges with using AI, and so definitely guardrails are needed for that. Also, AI can be used easily for spreading misinformation, and so with public services, that's also a key concern as well, right? So so all in all, I think, definitely a lot of great use cases are there, but if we do it right and we build trust into the services from day one, with accountability, security, and governance built in, I think it can be a force multiplier, really, not a replacement, but a force multiplier for the public servants that we have that we already trust.
Thank you. Do it right. That's what the message is. And then my next question, our panelist, Yervant. Dr. Zorian, how is innovation in AI hardware from companies like Synopsys and NVIDIA driving the rapid growth of AI across industries?
Okay, thank you for the good question. As Karthik was saying earlier, AI is something that exists in conception decades ago. We had the algorithm of AI a long time ago. We had the big data maybe a decade ago. What we were lacking is the speed, is the acceleration. In order to think fast, you need fast engines. Which are the chips? And the chips were evolving over time. With Moore's law for the last 50 years, we keep shrinking, doubling the speed, shrinking, doubling the speed every year. But we reached a point where we are able to give acceleration to AI, and it can think for us. It can help us. can provide us co-pilots that can play with us. Now, chips are the ones that make AI happen. So semiconductor is the fundamental backbone behind it. We all are talking about the usage of AI, but if you think behind this is the creator of AI for us to use it. And that creation of AI is the AI algorithms, the data we collect, but most importantly, the semiconductor behind it. So I think we are lucky. We're in an exciting world, surrounded by lots of intelligent equipment. I call it pervasive intelligent AI. And what are those intelligent equipments? Are those equipments that are based on AI, using high-speed semiconductor, and they are software driven. They are software configured. So they're not fixed systems that we are using. Imagine not only data centers, imagine all the autonomous equipments around us. Whether the self-driving cars, the robots, the drones, they are all intelligent systems because of these three things. We configure them by software, we use AI intelligence in them, and they are accelerated, driven by the semiconductor behind it. Now, another characteristics of it is also that they are not working in isolation. An autonomous car is not alone, it's among many others in a fleet. The drones will work in fleet of drones together. The robots will be in an environment full of other autonomous, either people or equipment. So, multi-systems is also a complexity. So, where we're going to a more and more complex situation. To create those systems, we need lots of disciplines to come together. Semiconductor is only one of them. The mechanics behind it, the thermal aspects behind it, the motion. So there are so many multidisciplinary systems that have to come together to create those complex systems that we have. And with that, we'll be able to achieve more and more. So AI is just at its beginning, I think. There's a lot more to come in the future. We can talk about more. But as we are keeping to shrink the technology, as we're moving to this angstrom era, we're measuring by angstroms now. As we're moving towards 1 trillion transistors per chip very soon, we're reaching a complexity level that will give us a lot more than we have today. And we have to be ready for it. Thanks.
Great answer, thank you. Definitely pause here. I think I totally agree. NVIDIA, Synopsys, they're doing a fantastic job. Really, it is not only the hardware, but it is the most powerful component as driving AI, especially the things like transformer technologies based like ChatGPT and all that. Really great discussion here. Go back to Dr. Chao. And in a multicultural city like Cupertino, how can AI help foster more inclusive and responsive public services for all residents?
Right. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is translation. Like when we design campaign flyers, you can easily use it to translate to another language. And now even you can use the Google camera to look at the flyer and have it instantly translated into another language. But at the same time, we also can use an initiative that I am piloting this year is called Cupertino Stories. So we are creating a platform where everyone who has ever worked, lived, or volunteered in Cupertino can submit an entry about their life or the organization they have worked for or volunteered for. We hope to collect a data set about Cupertino, and then eventually we can extract different stories about Cupertino, how an organization was founded, who are all these people who have got involved in the organization. And so I'm working with California Science and Technology University. They are helping us to create some AI tools to process data and hopefully later to extract data from. And then we also are doing workshops to help high schoolers or anyone to use AI to write history, to submit to Cupertino stories. So that's also a method we are trying to bring all the community together, because we would be able to collect stories from every ethnicity in Cupertino, so that we can really see where people are coming from all over the world, and then where all our children who graduate from Cupertino, where they will went, what companies they go out to create. So that's my dream of something that we can eventually extract. And at the same time, since I use ChatGPT on a daily, all kinds of things for my work and also for community events. One day ChatGPT asked me if I want a profile of me. And it's amazing that how it was able to capture. I feel like ChatGPT knows me better than my husband. Because he's not interested in everything I do. But I talk to ChatGPT every day about every event, every policy, everything that I am trying to design. So it's become a really good secretary to help you draft policies, draft the promotional materials to get people to attend events. And for my State of the City address, I even use ChatGPT to generate a poem about how we can bring people together who may disagree, but then we can find common ground. And it produced an amazing poem that everyone walks away from the State of the City address, all they remember is a poem by ChatGPT. I think these are, it really, AI tools levels the playing ground of many people. Yeah, it might, people who have never written poem before can write them. People who have never written a song can write songs. I've tried that too. And people who is not a graphics designer can use the tool to design flyers. But then I don't think the AI tool will, some jobs will become easier, but then it will become a friend to graphic designers to design better flyers, a friend to a poet to write better poem. So it's going to help everyone. So that's, I think it's going to bring unity to the community.
Thank you, Dr. Chao. So you're not alluding to that people should start giving up on their spouses and create more companionship with the ChatGPT because they know you better, right? You feel?
Yeah, I would ask my husband to talk to my ChatGPT to get to know me.
All right, thank you, Dr. Chao. That was a good spin. With that, I would like to request that we keep our answers brief because we're coming up to the time. I have more questions to go. In May, I'd like to ask you, Fremont has a vibrant American community, and as for our communities help shape the next wave of ethical AI adoption in the cities.
Sure. So Fremont is proud to be home to one of the largest Indian diasporas in the United States. And in fact, when we talk about great companies and great things getting started, many people do not know that Apple had their first factory in Fremont, and actually NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, actually had one of his first competitions in the townhouses down here in Fremont. So by engaging in innovation and advanced engineering, we are able to harness our collective strength. And a recent example that I just saw in the news was how some students that were Indian were able to come up with a brilliant salt-powered, self-energy generative microfridge to transport medical. And so I know this type of innovation showcases, and part of it is the ecosystem that we're in. And so, having the opportunity to host ERG conversations at SFBU, and also as mayor, I've actively supported high-quality education and innovative opportunities, everything from makerspace in our libraries to working with our engineering expo. And last week, I don't know if he's here now, Mayor saw one, also hosted, helped us our first 3D printing challenge. So inspiring creativity and equipping our students. I think that's one of the things with Fremont we have. So finally, I also say that for focusing on events, specifically, I have to say I know Mayor Chao and I are both women, and when I was younger in Computer Science Club, I was the only girl. And so fostering things like Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day, and having things like, even this weekend, we have our Earth Day event, to engage our community in partnerships like Aloni, and also building the workforce of the future. So things like Earn and Learn, and having our internship fairs with our high school students. This empowers our students to be able to build the challenge for tomorrow. And I think that having this conversation here today at ICC and in the past with the language access, it helps to build that foundation of this conversation where we have open discussions about ethical challenges and how we're able to use technology for the betterment for our community and not just to harm people. I think there's a great opportunity here, and I'm very optimistic on this. Thank you.
Wow. Ms. May has an amazing energy. She can really compare with the AI. She can power the AI. You know, we're talking about the future biotech AI. Thank you, Ms. May. Really great to hear from you on that. Karthik, I'd like to really request you keep going faster, right? Ask the next question. Global experience. How can public agencies in India and the US learn from one another as they deploy AI to serve the citizens?
Yeah, I think eventually, much like in the broader security space, healthcare had its own consortium, financial has its own consortium like FSISAC, healthcare ISACs. I think the consortiums are going to get built to be considered by agencies for specific things where, for transportation, you're going to learn from each other. There's going to be a consortium that allows you to learn. Now, the things that you have to watch out for are certainly things like biases, right? When you're delivering services, you have a fairly high bar to make sure that those services are delivered, fairly without discrimination. And these models are all only as good as the training data that you provide, and so just making sure that as human oversight, that you're able to eliminate a lot of those biases, and keeping it as transparent and accountable as possible. Because the more black boxy it becomes, the harder it's going to be to essentially be able to convince people that you're delivering these things fairly. And so, yeah, I could go on and on about privacy, security, and so on. I'm going to keep it brief, but it's really around just monitoring for things, learning best practices from each other, very much sort of at a vertical specific level, where each individual vertical sector, there's probably going to be cross information sharing just to make sure that you're using this in the right way without all the downsides of things like biases, hallucination, and so on.
Absolutely right. Karthik, I really would like to thank you for all the work you're doing to keep our data secure, like what Mayor Chao mentioned. The data is important, and they're trying to curate. And we have folks like Karthik who are trying to really keep it secure. So thank you for the work. Huseni, I would like to go to the next question to you. How can smaller, less funded organizations start exploring AI in a simple way without requiring big budgets or specialized tech experts?
Great question, Tess. I think there's definitely a little bit of a myth out there, right, where we think that to get any kind of AI benefits for organizations, I need to put in massive investments of dollars and then maybe hire dozens of data scientists and PhDs to get some benefit, right? I think that's not the case anymore today, right? We see that if we are able to, for organizations like cities, if you're able to narrow down to specific use cases that we want to, and it doesn't need to be fancy. It can be something that is small and impactful, and start with those, right? And when you do that, what happens is you can actually now go out and get a lot of open source models. We see a lot of them with increasing capabilities and smaller footprint, and tools that are available out there, right? And especially if you attach your organization's data to ground those models, then even those open source models are able to outperform big, fancy, closed source models that we have seen, especially for those specific use cases that you want it to perform. So then you can now start building solutions that include those open source models and tools, and if the solutions can be trusted, turnkey solutions, then city employees can also start using them without needing a lot of deep AI expertise. or even deep pockets, right? And essentially, we get towards democratization of AI for the public good. So yeah, that's kind of one of the areas that we focus on at my company as well. So so that's something that's very close to my heart.
Thank you, Huseni. I think you're right. With technologies or AI companies like DeepSeek, who are using less powerful chips to really create kind of similar performance, I think it's the right segue to go to Dr. Zorian, because they do develop these awesome chips and semiconductors. And I'd like to ask you, Dr. Zorian, what should everyday professionals know about how these foundational technologies are shaping our future?
Thank you. Yes, our future is being shaped, as we all discussed, and we as users in our domains, we are utilizing it. I think as a regular person, as each one of us, we need to embrace AI and utilize it. Now, where we are today is in its early stage, which is learning based. So this is the learning stage where ChatGPT or the image recognition and so on are helping us learn what's going on around us and take some help. Next stage will be more the reasoning of AI. Okay? So we need to know that reasoning will help us as well. There'll be judgments that we can have. We can rely on AI with that. And the third stage after that, as we know, is the action. So it will take action for us. So not only will learn, not only will reason, but also will take action for us as well. So now we are executing things, getting some advice. Later, it can execute for us as well. Now, in every profession, wherever we are, at every stage of our lives, we can benefit from all this. We can benefit from it today, tomorrow, and later as well. So what's important is to see how can it become helpful for our own profession, for our own work, for that use case, for that ability. Generic things, of course, whether we are translating, secretarial help, and so on, these are generic, but it can be also customized. So let's see how it can be customized towards our needs. For that, we need to feed data into the system. So we need to prepare what the data is needed. And based on that data, it can customize and get help for us in our own profession. Our kids, they can learn from it as well. Today, we are using, you mentioned the Armenian Virtual College earlier. We are preparing courses for mid-school, high school kids in Armenia, where they learn AI from early stage. What do they learn? They learn how to prepare the data, how to customize the data. So the data that you feed will help you get reason or action later on. So that data science or data-minded thinking has to start from early on so that we can benefit from it to the most. Thank you.
Dr. Krishnan is always full of smart ideas. Thank you, Doctor. I think data is important. I'm really surprised, and that what a great move of introducing AI in, elementary, higher school or early age in the school. I think maybe our mayor here probably start thinking about those lines. Introducing AI in schools would be a really great concept. I would love to. I know my MC right next to me. She's like, "Hey, keep it to the time. We've got to be respectful of everyone's time here. We want to keep this event, at the schedule." I'd like to thank you, all of our panelists, for sharing such a valuable insights tonight. It's clear artificial intelligence is just a tool for efficiency. It's a force that can help us build safer, smarter, and more inclusive communities. What we heard tonight is a reminder that AI is just not an algorithm or automation. It's about people. It's about making sure every resident, every commuter, every voice is heard and served. And as we think about the role of Indian diaspora in shaping the future, from city halls to startups, tonight's dialogue shows how collaboration, shared values, and innovation can work hand in hand. Now, we don't have much time. We still have 6 minutes, I believe. I'd like to open the floor for any questions for our panelists. You might have our panelists. Please raise your hand, and we'll try to bring the mic to you if we have a volunteer here. Any questions? Yep, I see. Somebody can take. I see my friend Yervant is serving as volunteer here. Thank you, Yervant.
Thank you. I think you started on this. It's no secret that China is our main strategic competitor on AI, and they've made it mandatory for 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds to study AI. They're putting a lot of emphasis on it in future years. I'd like to ask how other officials here, customers being teaching AI those ones in our policies.
Yeah, as someone who majored in computer science, I have been wondering, in the past few years there has been a push to teach kids coding. And now, is there a need to really teach them coding? Because you can actually ask the AI to help you write. So, but it said that maybe we need to be thinking about how do you organize. I think what we really need to teach kids is really how to ask questions. We have been training kids how to solve problems, but then what we really need is how to ask questions from different angles so you get different perspectives, and how to organize your data so that the data you ask different questions from different angles with those data, you might have different answers. These are the things we need to teach kids. But I think the school district, they are thinking about that, but I'm not sure China force those what they are teaching is really AI. I think a lot of people are calling everything AI now. But then, are they really AI? And the AI is to the point where it's so mature. You don't really need to know a lot, but you need to know how to use it to your best advantage. And that would need creativity. That would need the innovation. And that, I think, is still more important than how to use a tool. Because tool is going to change in 10 years when they grow up.
Yeah.
We have one more question here.
Okay. I'd like to also have Dr. Zorian clarify that. Like, it's not about also teaching AI, but also preparing them, like how to really structure the data properly, right? Maybe Dr. Zorian can clarify later, but I guess we'll take the next question.
Yeah, I mean, you put it, yes, that's the case. It's what kind of data you need, how can you feed the system with data, because the algorithm exists, the software exists, you can tune it to your needs, but you need to feed it with information. So thinking of what is the information needed to teach the kids in advance, so that they are data oriented in their mind, they know how to feed the system and what kind of benefits to get from it.
Next question, everyone.
Good evening and Jai Shri Ram, everyone. My question is for Dr. Chen, Mayor of Cupertino and Lily May, Mayor of Fremont. Sorry, gentlemen. But so my question is, what are some of the pain points that you have that AI helped to solve, or you think AI will solve? And my second part of the question is, what is there for some of the appetite that you have in the cities for getting more and more AI into your operations? Thank you.
Sure. I think some of the pain points we were just talking about, and when I was thinking about answering the question, is the ability for students to be able to learn. And having served on the school board and as a mom to millennials, I think part of it is any tool, whether it's back then using query language or using AI now, it's the ability to be able to think. And one of the things that I always worry about too, as a pain point, is education in just even civics. Some people think a mayor can make BART come on time. We don't have a magic wand, unfortunately. But things like in terms of educating our students and our community on how to go through this information and data. What I worry about is you don't have that awareness and how to structure the data or how to understand it, then whoever controls the data controls your mind in some ways too. So it's important for us to be able to create that awareness on how to validate and how to look at that information and not just take it blindly from ChatGPT or other areas too. So I think that that's one of the things that's important, and our ability to help people to be able to think of things. And also, I just talked to students that were in high school, recognizing that things in terms of your end destination is not just the college, and it's not just your degree, but it's also the ability to think. And when it comes to the workforce, and what we're talking about here is the ability to synthesize that information and be able to work in a way that allows us to have collaboration and not just to feed a flat data output, but to actually be able to have something that's usable as a solution.
Thank you. Sorry, we are out of time. We want to be respectful of everyone. And a big applause to our panelists who are doing a fantastic job. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you very soon.
Hello. Excellent job, Tasawar ji. Please give them a big round of applause. I think want to take a group picture here. Yeah.